Hi everyone, welcome back to Britain on the Brink. Today we're diving into some eye-opening migration stats from the UK. The big headline, net migration has fallen sharply. But what's driving this drop, and what does it mean? Let's unpack the data. According to the Office for National Statistics, ONS, net migration, that's the number coming into the UK minus the number leaving, was about 204,000 for the year to June 2025. That's down 69% from 649,000 the year before. In fact, it's the lowest annual figure since 2021. Why such a big drop? The ONS says it's mainly due to fewer people arriving on work or student visas and more people leaving the country. First, the UK government has tightened visa rules for non-EU migrants. For example, salary thresholds for skilled worker visas were raised dramatically in 2024, and new restrictions were put on many lower-skilled visas. As a result, work visa grants have plummeted. In Q3 2025, they were at a 3-year low. Student visas have also dropped from their COVID-era peak. One report notes a 70% fall in people arriving on work or study visas from last year, so the pipeline of new workers and students has shrunk. Meanwhile, more people are leaving the UK. ONS projections estimate about 70,000 more EU nationals left than arrived in the year to June 2025, continuing a long post-Brexit trend. On top of that, 109,000 more British citizens left than returned. In total, 693,000 people emigrated in that year, up 43,000 from the year before. Put simply, after Brexit and the pandemic, some who came earlier are now going. And quite a few Brits are moving abroad too. So those are the big picture reasons. Fewer newcomers on visas and a bump in people moving out. It's not that the world suddenly loves the UK less, it's that policy changes have cut legal migration routes, and older cohorts are gradually leaving. The numbers make sense. If 400,000 fewer immigrants arrive, mostly workers and students, and 43,000 more people depart, net migration falls fast. Much of the decline in net migration results from groups like care workers and family members of students, notes one analysis. Now, here's a twist. Asylum claims are still at record highs. In the year to September 2025, the UK received 110,000 asylum applications, more than any year on record. That includes people arriving irregularly, like small boat crossings, and those on resettlement routes. Importantly, most asylum seekers stay in the UK. Very few leave. So while work and study migrants are declining, asylum seekers form an ever larger slice of the total. Official analysis from Oxford's Migration Observatory shows that the net migration of asylum seekers is about 90,000, which is roughly 44% of the 204,000 net migration. That's nearly half. By contrast, pre-Brexit, 2019, asylum made up only about 22% of net migration. In other words, one of the only groups where arrivals stayed high is people seeking asylum, so they now account for almost half of the net gain to population. This is crucial because it changes the conversation. It's not that only overall migration numbers matter. Who is coming matters too. Many analysts caution that a shift towards more refugees and fewer skilled workers has economic implications. Dr. Ben Brindle of the Migration Observatory puts it well. The economic impacts of changes in migration depend on who is migrating, not just how many. In the current situation, we have fewer skilled worker visas and a higher share of refugees, who often need more support. That can strain public services and leave jobs unfilled. So, to sum up, why has net migration fallen? Because the UK is bringing in far fewer workers and students under its visa system, and at the same time more people, especially EU and UK nationals, are leaving. This reflects deliberate policy choices and Brexit effects, not a mystery. The truth in the media is simply in the numbers. ONS data confirm a 2/3 drop in net migration. At the same time, asylum claims are surging to record highs. The combination means asylum seekers now make up a huge share of the net migration total. Finally, what does this trend mean for Britain's future? If policies continue to restrict work-based immigration while asylum flows stay high, The UK could face labour shortages in key industries and a higher cost of support services. That's a complex policy question. But the data are clear. Net migration is down, but the composition has shifted dramatically. Any serious discussion needs to look at both the total numbers and the breakdown by visa type and nationality.